Good morning, everybody.
Shalom Aleichem.
I don't hear Rabbi. You're still on silence.
Am I good?
That's it. Very good.
Excellent.
Baruch Hashem. With the help of Hashem, we are learning Shabbos Daf Samach Tes. We are continuing the Braisa that we learned on Samach Ches Amud Beis, the Machloekes, the Chachamim, and Munbaz. And we learned in the last year the first part of their argument, Shitas Munbaz, is that if a person never knew that a certain thing is sinful, whether it is they never knew Iker Shabbos, or they never knew there's a prohibition to have chaylev or dam, etc., and then what we would call a shoygig, inadvertently they participated in that activity that's prohibited, they're not going to be chayiv chatos because of the hekish that was ultimately that Munbas has between the shoygig and the mezid, as we have in the parsha of God forbid committing avodah zarah b'shoygig in parsha Shalach. Stam lahoir, that this whole concept of a tinuk shenishba and the way we look at another yid that did not have the schus of being brought up with the appreciation of the greatness, of the joyfulness, of the holiness of Torah and mitzvahs, that no one is greater than beginning with the Hasidim, beginning with the Holy Baal Shem Tov, then continuing with the Alter Rebbe, the whole Perek Lamed Beis and Tanya, the same Perek that deals with Avos Yisrael, deals with Recheach Techeches HaMeisach, and as the Alter Rebbe explains. But he has to be like you in Torah and mitzvahs. And if not, you have to love him. And this taka becomes, in our generation, right, a klal gadol, like Tzemach pointed out yesterday, that's the klal gadol of ahavta l'reacha kamoicha. And the concept of viewing every Jew in such a light, that since today, mamish baruba deruba deruba, Yidden are in the category of a tinnik shenishba, and therefore they are in the category of an oinus, this mindset introduced in the world by Hasidim was so mutzlach that the whole world adopted it today, which is mamish unbelievable. And indeed, this is the klal gadol of our generation, and looking at another yid in that light, and therefore having a greater amount of Avos Yisrael. Without doubt, these ideas will certainly bring about the revelation of Mashiach now. Amen. Now, all of that was the first part of Shitas Mundas. We will now continue on Daf Samach Tes, explaining the second part of, as we had actually the discussion between Munbaz and Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva tells Munbaz, Rabbi Akiva represents the Chachamim. Hold on, you are comparing Shoygig to Mezid? If that's the case, then there must be a shoygig that is still called a shoygig, even though while the person sinned, they knew that it's a sin, because that's the definition of a mazid. Mazid means the person knows that you may not do it, and with that knowledge, God forbid, the person does violate. So if they're the same, there has to be a case where there's a shoygig with knowledge. And Mumba says, there's a case where there is only a carbon chatos, even though a person did a sin, knowing that it's sinful. So how can that be? So we're going to start explaining that, and we're going to introduce the concept today, which is a moededika concept, that if a person knows that what they're doing is prohibited under the penalty of kares, they know that. There is a detail that they don't know. They don't know that if you do it b'shoigig, you bring a chatos. They have a lack of the knowledge of the consequence of a chatos. This is what Mumbas holds. That's called a sin b'shoigig. Herst, the person sins, they know it's asur, they know they're going to get kares for it because they're doing it b'mezid. They just don't know the detail that if someone does it completely b'shoigig, they don't know that they have to bring a chatos. In other words, the yid is sinning without knowing all of the consequences of the sin. Munbas considers this a shoigig. See, he's lenient. He looks at a yid with this positive light in both ends. If he never knew, he's b'chalad chayv carbon. Even if he knows that it's a chiyuv kares, if he doesn't know that there's a carbon chatos for a shoigig, he doesn't know, the whole thing is called a shoigig. Now, the Chachamim argue with that. The Chachamim say that if a person knows that this may not be done, and there's a chiyuv of kares, of course, he's going to be chayv, he's chayv kares. It's not a shoigig. However, even the Chachamim, we're going to learn weiter machlekes between Rabbi Yechanan and Ish Lakish regarding such a concept. Is there a case where a yid knows that what they're doing is asur, but they don't know, for example, that they're going to be penalized with kares? They know it's a lav, but they don't know the kares penalty. So Rabbi Yechanan holds that the Chachamim hold he's going to be chayv chatos. It's called a shoigig. And there's a logic to that, because we just finished learning yesterday that there is a link between kares and chatos. That's the klal. Any sin for which, if you do it b'mezid, you chayv kares, there is where we say if you do it b'shoigig, you chayv chatos. So according to Rabbi Yechanan, according to the Chachamim, they reject Mumbas the Chachamim. If you know that what you're doing is asur, and you know there's a chiyuv kares, even though you didn't know that if it would have been shoigig, you would be chayv chatos. Doesn't matter, you're doing it b'mezid. But if you don't know that it's taka chiyuv kares, that's what Rabbi Yechanan holds. Even the Chachamim subscribes to this concept. We view this as a shoigig. You didn't have full knowledge. Reish Lakish disagrees. Reish Lakish holds that l'chachamim, shoigig means what we grew up in cheder shoigig. Shoigig means you didn't know it's asur. Okay, I get it. You knew once, or you never knew once. When you did it, you did not know you're doing a sin. You're a shoigig in the lav. The moment you know it's a lav, according to Reish Lakish, even though you didn't know this consequence or that consequence, we don't care. That's called a bona fide mazid. Okay, now we're going to introduce other dinim. We're going to chazar a little bit the dinim of Shvuas Pitoy. And again, there are certain correlations between our sugya and the beginning of Shvuas, which deals be'ikir with this concept of Yediyah, and then there's Helem, and then there's Yediyah, etc. We will also, what is relatively more known, have on Daf Samach Tes Amud Beis, being that we are learning in the Mishnah the concept of Shigegas Shabbos versus Shigegas Malachis. Shigegas Shabbos means that you don't know that today is Shabbos. So this is a theme that's brought on also a lot in Hasidus. What happens if a person, that's the Braisa here, Samach Tes Amud Beis, is traveling and they lost track of time. They don't know what day of the week it is. So when should they keep Shabbos? So we're going to learn the machlokes, whether you count 6 days and then on the 7th you keep Shabbos. Kibriyasei shel olam, when God created the world, there was 6 days and then came Shabbos. Or the other shita is no, that if you are aware right now, I don't know what day of the week it is, you completely don't know, you have no notion. It's not you don't know whether it's Monday or Tuesday, you don't know b'chlal what day of the week it is, then tonight is Shabbos. First Shabbos, and then 6 days of the week. Or it's 6-1 or 1-6. Moededik. And we're gonna explain the underlying meaning of it al pi Hasidus when we learn the sugya. What will be great is that many of us heard this already. Thank God. but there's going to be certain details that will clarify and limit this machlokes, that for those who didn't yet learn it, really we all learned it as we learned in Nida while we were still being developed in our mother's womb. But for those of us who don't remember it, when you remember this the first time, it's mamash shmoidedik, because it really limits the machlokes. It's not the way it sounds, for 6 days you're good, and then you keep Shabbos, or keep Shabbos and then you can work for 6 days. It's not that at all, but still there's an aspect of 6-1 versus 1-6, and the final topic that we will learn on the Samach Tesamad Beis, and we have to get there, is that we learned last year the Mishnah, the Moededik Mishnah, the 3 cases. The first case and the second case, without the details of Munbaz or Rabban Shmuel, Rabbi Yochanan Shlakish, without those details, Mishnah says if a person b'chlal forgets that they're Shabbos, and sadly, they violated many melachos and many Shabbosos, when they become aware, they only have to bring 1 chatos. Versus the next case, the second case in the Mishnah, according to everyone, is that the person knows there's a concept of Shabbos, the person knows that you may not do malachas on Shabbos, the person forgot what day of the week it is, Shigaga Shabbos. And for many Shabbosos, on each one, they violated many malachas because they never knew when Shabbos is. So the Mishnah says, Taka, you only chayiv 1 chatos for 1 Shabbos, but you're chayiv for each Shabbos a separate chatos. And as we spoke out the words of Tosfos, that it's Agzeres HaKosuf, that the weekdays in between these Shabbosos halachically render it a Yediyah. So there's like a Yediyah bentayim. Whenever there's Helam Yediyah, every Yediyah brings about a Nuchi of Chatos. Where is that Kosuf? Like, why is it that if someone B'chlal doesn't know that to Shabbos, we don't say that. We say that when you become aware of Hilchah Shabbos and the mitzvah of Shabbos, then 1 Chatos covers all of the violations, the many melachas and many Shabbosos. Just because you knew the dinim of Shabbos, but you did not know that that weekday is Shabbos, again, why? What's the pasuk? We're going to learn the sources in the psukim that differentiate between B'chlal not knowing whether it's Shabbos versus you know it's Shabbos, but for many weeks in a row you forgot, you don't know what day of the week it is. There, for every Shabbos, you have to bring 1 chatas and many, many other dinim. Let us start where we left off. We left off, if I'm not mistaken, 6 lines from the top of the Ami. 6 lines from the top of the. So we explained, like we pointed out, Munbaz in the Brisa tells Rabbi Akiva, I have a binyana between Shoigig and Mezig because Hashem calls a Mezid once a chet, a choyte, right? The nefesh ki sechta by Shua Sa'edus. The Gemara takes it as a given that is Zikr, not the main base. And we found this hekish, Lemunbaz, again, between a Shoigig and a Mezid. All of that explains the first part of his shita regarding someone who's a tinik shenishba, l'shitas mumbaz. It's not even a shoigig, it's an oinus. They never knew. But then Mumbaz told Rabbi Akiva, I make this, I take this hekish or this binyanav all the way. And shoigig is like mezid. There was a case where you knew it's a sin, you know it's a sin while you're sinning, and it's still a shoigig. So says the Gemara, Ve'ela Mumbaz, well, what will be that case? There has to be some shoigig. Can't be that you know that you're sinning and you're going to be chayiv only a carbon. So wine, like we spoke out in the intro, a person knows that this may not be done. It means they know it's a lav. Not only do they know it's a lav, but they know it's a lav sheyesh b'karis. They know the punishment for doing this b'mezid, and they know that they're doing it. But since they don't know that if a yid does this b'shoigeg, he's chayiv a carbon, they don't know that klal that we learned yesterday. And that klal, by the way, is l'kula alma. The psukim was the source for the Rabbanan. Everyone holds of this klal that when there is a lav, because b'shoigeg chayiv a carbon. He doesn't know that. So since, like we spoke out, he doesn't know all the consequences of the sin, Mumbaz says that's called a shoigeg. And he won't be chayiv kares. He's going to be chayiv a carbon chatos. That is Munbaz. And the Rabbanan say no. The Rabbanan shigigas carbon loishmashkaga. Just because you don't know what the punishment would be for a shoigeg, you know it may not be done. You know that if you do it, you're chayiv kares, and you're doing it. You're chayiv kares. Okay. Now, the Rabbanan. So what shitas Rabbanan? So normally you learn Rabbanan. Okay, so the Rabbanan hold a shoigeg means you don't know b'chlal that what you're doing now is prohibited. So the Gemara says no, as we spoke at in the introduction, that what is shitas chachamim, machlekes Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish. Reish Lakish learns that the chachamim hold the way we always learn shoigeg throughout Shas. While you're doing the act, you don't know at all that there's any tzad isur. However, Rabbi Yechanan says no. Rabbi Yechanan borrows the concept of Munbaz, and he says that, yeah, the way Munbaz applies it, the case in which Munbaz applies it, Shigigas Karbin, Shigigas Chatos, the Chachamim reject. But they agree to the concept. Rabbanan Shkaga B'mai, Rabbi Yechanan says, there could be a case that a Yid knows that this is prohibited, and they know it while they're doing it, and it's still called a shoygig. And that will be Kigoin Sheshagag B'Karis. Karbin, no. But if you know that it's asur, but you don't know that there's a kares penalty, you don't know that there's a kares penalty, even though you know it's a lav. If you don't know that it's a kares penalty, that defines your act as a shoygig. Ubemela, even lachachamim, again, even though you knew you're doing a sin, you're going to be chayv a carbon and not kares. Just to make it clear, we have this in Makis, right by Adam Zoymimim in the whole beginning, that sometimes you can ask, you kidding? What the more the person knows, the less chi of chatos? Yeah. That sometimes the graver the sin, the harder the tikkun, the harder the tshuva that we can do here in this world. So when there's a shoygeg, you can get your kapara through a carbon. The more you knew, graver the sin, then the less options we have here by us to rectify it. And that's the case, B'chlal. If you do it b'shoygeg, you chayv a carbon. If you do it b'mezid, you would say you chayv 2 carbonis, 10 carbonis, you chayv no carbon, because the carbon doesn't address the severity of the sin. Okay. Then a Shlakish argues with Rabbi Yechanan, and he holds, no, shoygeg means shoygeg, that you're sheyishgeg both the lav and kares. You cannot know that it's a lav. You certainly won't know that it's kares, because you don't even know that you're doing a lav. But if you know that it's a lav, you just don't know the consequence of kares, still called amazing. You knew Hashem says don't do it, and you're doing it. You're not going to be chayiv a chatos. You can't find your kapara through a carbon chatos. Then you have to go to already higher levels of tshuva, as we learn in Hasidus. There's always tshuva, but you can't find your tikkun fully through a carbon. Amarava, listen, we spoke out Mumbas, but the Chachamim reject the link between shoygeg and mezid. So Rava says, I'm sorry, it's interesting. Rava is asking to explain Abshur ben Lakish. My time ben Lakish. And you would think that Rabbi Yechanan has to prove himself. No, the Gemara is coming with the premise that the Reish Lakish needs a source. Amar Kram, and this is a pasuk. Asher loy say oseno bishgaga v'ashem. All right, that's Vayikra Perek Dalet pasuk Chav Beis. Pasuk Chav Beis. No, this is the sugya of the chatois. We learned so much about this in Masechta Shavuos. This, there's the chatos of a kohen gadol, and this is the parsha of Asher Nasi Yechta. A Nasi sinned. There, the din is that he brings a male animal versus a female animal, and Asher Nasi Yechta, right? The Chumash Chitas. Asher means Ashrei Hadoir, that the Nasi is moider that he sinned. Asher loy say osena bishgaga. You got to take away the parentheses because open up a chumash or for a Baal Qaeda, the pasuk writes the words bishgaga, and he did it, and he became guilty. So the pshat is ad sheyishgoig belav v'kadosh sheba. Pashit. He did the shgaga comes after the lav. Asher loy say osena. God said, don't do it. Forget about the consequences. And he is a shoygig in the Asher Lo Yisei Osena. That's the case of Achatas. He learned something else from the Va'ashim going on the shgaga on the lav. It doesn't go on the shgaga of the lav. And that's lich at the time for another din. Now here we're going me'inyan le'inyan ba'oisa inyan. There in Vayikra, like we mentioned, the Torah is speaking about a kohen hamashuach, a kohen gadol that does a chet b'shoygig, the nasi that does a sin b'shoygig, and now we're quoting from pasuk Chav Zayin that's speaking about stamayid amcha. The pasuk says that the nefesh achas techta b'shgaga may am haaretz also achatos. Now the words may, we have this throughout Chazal, from the people of the land. From is an exclusionary word, not all cases, from cases. May am haaretz. So the mem, according to the Tanakama, Prat L'Mumar, Mumar means a renegade. Renegade means a yid, even a mumar l'davar echad, a yid who sadly at this moment doesn't care that God Almighty told me not to eat chaylev. Which means that even if he would know that it's chaylev, he would eat it. Now he ate it not knowing that it's chaylev, but his knowledge wouldn't have changed anything. The Tanach holds he doesn't bring a chatos. From where do we learn it from? From the mem of the mei am ha'aretz. Not all amaratza, meaning not all people bring a chatos. There's a yid that does something bishoigeg and he doesn't bring a chatos, the mumar. Rab Shimon ben Elazar, in the name of Rebbe Shimon, which Tam Rab Shimon is Rashbi, agrees to the din, but he has another limud. He agrees to the din, but from where does he learn that a mumar is not mechuyev to bring a korban chatos? We don't accept from a mumar a chatos. From the pasuk that we're learning right now, from the pasuk that Rava says, Reish Lakish learns the definition of a shoigi. When it says Ashem lo yisei yosenu bishgagam ve'ashem. Oh, and here really what we should add on Balpeh is that the next pasuk, again this is pasuk Chav Beis, says, and now he became aware. Oh, now you became aware that you sinned, you bring a korban chatos. So that's the limud. Now you became aware implied that when you did it, you only did it because you didn't know. Hashabi the Yasai, if someone with knowledge that this is chaylev, or that this is not allowed to be done, and indeed they would not have done it, they would be shoved, they would retract from their action with knowledge that it's sinful. Only such a yid is included in the parsha of achatos. He is maybe korban al shkagase, but lo yishavmi the Yasai. Right, the next pasuk says, "Oy hoida elav chatasai." If a yid, even when he knows, would do it anyways, and he may be korban al shkagase. So that's the limud that we use the asher lois kesen of Hashem v'shgaga v'Hashem for. So therefore, Rabbi Yechanan doesn't have that pasuk, and without this pasuk, we accept the premise that if there isn't full knowledge, that's Rabbi Yechanan. For example, you know it's a lot, but you don't know Yechayiv Kadis. Holds Rabbi Yechanan, you are also called a shoigeg, ubemela Yechayiv Achatas. Again, we can just be malamat chus. This is God forbid. Not to minimize the severity of God Almighty's laws. But after the fact, to be more malamat chus, maybe you can argue, according to Rabbi Yechanan, who even knows what kadis means? Maybe everyone is in the category of a shkoyge. Ki chol ha'am bishgaga. What's kadis? We taka don't know. You know, this kadis is misa b'dei shamayim, and we have even throughout the earlier generations, machlokes rishonim. What's the difference? We have so many different statements in the Gemara. What is kadis? Doesn't mean that the person, God forbid, will pass away without children, or even worse, that his minor children will pass away. He'll be hoylech aridi. Aridi means cut off from kids. Doesn't mean that he'll pass away live max until 50. Doesn't imply some sort of ruchni yizdika olam haba in the world of the neshamas punishment. V'chule, we don't understand that fully. Maybe we can just be malamat chus. That's not called a bona fide mezid le Rabbi Yechanan. Now, obviously, just maybe al derech tzachus. We say Rabbi Yechanan and Reish Lakish is a tzaddik and a bal shuva. Reish Lakish cannot subscribe to this because then many people won't do tshuva. You know, you're starting to be malamat chus that if the yid didn't fully understand that there's kadis, or maybe you didn't understand what kadis is, oh, you're already in the category of a shogeg. When people have that mindset, then they won't do tshuva properly. Reish Lakish says no. Shogeg means you knew nothing. You didn't know it's asur. You didn't know that. You didn't know. If you knew, that's already called that's a problem. To tshuva, you have to know what mindset. We don't ever adopt a mindset that takes away the motivation for tshuva. No, we adopt the mindset to be malamat chus on another yid. But for oneself, no, if I knew it's asur, then I have to do tshuva. Okay. Says the Gemara. Tanan we learned. And this is the big Mishnah we're going to have, Chavera, Daf Ayin Gimel, the Klal Gadol, the Lametes Malachos. And as we already spoke out, that Chazal don't say Lametes, but the Lashon is Avos Malachos Arboim Chasar Achas. When we learned, I think it was on Daf Memtes Amid Beis or somewhere over there, we learned that we explained Al Pi Nigla. One of the simple insights, why don't we say 39? Because there are 30, remember that? There were 40 times in the Torah where the Torah uses the words Malacha, but really there's 41, we said. One of them is Leisasa Malach on Shabbos. We don't count that. So there's 40 left. But from that 40, either by Yosef Atzadik, that he entered his house, Lasois Malachtoi, either that Malacha is not included in the count, or by the donations of the Mishkan. Remember about Hamalacha Hoisadayam? One of these two Malachas are deducted, are taken out. So it's 40 minus one, because there's stack of 40, but one is not counted. Okay, so what's the Malach Shavavin Ba? And the Gemara asks, since the Mishnah Daf Ayin Gimel enumerates all of the 39, all you need to do is count them. And that's Bachal. Whenever a Tana gives a number, why does he have to give a number? Minyana Lamali. Begin. Hazareya, HaChodesh, begin enumerating HaChodesh, Hazareya, begin giving the malachas, and you'll count, you'll know the number. And on that, the answer is Amar Rabbi Yochanan, She'im Hassan Kol Melam Hacha, Echad, that's what the Mishnah is alluding to, the rule that we spoke at in the intro to the Perek, that if a person violated Chelav many times over, Behelamachas Chayv one Chatas. If a person violates all the 39 malachas on one Shabbos, he knew it's Shabbos. He just didn't know that these malachas are asur. So then he's Chayv, not one. He's every malacha is a separate lav keilu. That's the meaning of the Mishnah. Now let's hold on a second. Where do you have a case? Not b'shigag Shabbos. Shigag Shabbos, b'zadin melachas, you only chayv one. Your mistake was only you don't know what the day is. It is only b'zadin Shabbos. It must be in the case that you know it's Shabbos. Elamah, you violated all 39 because you didn't know about any of the 39. So now the Gemara says like this. The question is based on the premise, what does it mean you know that it's Shabbos? Think about it. You know that it's Shabbos, but you don't know any of the Lama Tes Malachas. So what exactly do you know? Like you know that this day is called Shabbos Kodesh? That's not enough. Knowing Shabbos must mean you know that there's some activity that has a consequence. Since today is Shabbos, X, Y, and Z may not be done. So how is it shaykh to be a shoyig in the Malachas and to still be called Zadain Shabbos? And now it's beautiful. Now Rabbi Yochanan is Gamaldik. So according to Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yochanan says shoygig doesn't only mean you know nothing. Shoygig also means you know that it's a lav. Elama, you don't know that there's Kaddish. That would work. Going, Kiv and Shashaga B'Kaddish. Right, this Yid knew of all the Lamates Malachas that you may not do it. He just never knew that if you do it b'mezid, you're chayiv Kaddish. Parenthetically, if a person is Machal Shabbos b'mezik, under the conditions of there being a halachic hasra and Aiden, he's chayiv skila. But let's speak about a case which is the norm that there isn't a two kosher Aiden, you didn't have a proper hasra, so then you're chayiv Kaddish. So he didn't know Kaddish. Afal pi she'ezid b'lav. Still, Rabbi Yochanan calls this a shoygig. So mishkachas law, that's the case. The Yad Lo Shabbos b'lav. He didn't know there's a chiyuv Kaddish. He knew there's a lav, so it's called. You know it's Shabbos because you know that it's asur. Elama, you didn't know a detail. You didn't know the Kaddish punishment. But according to Reish Lakish or Rab Shimon ben Lakish, the Amar Achi Yishgoy b'lavu b'Kaddish. So a shoygig means you know nothing. If you know nothing, how can you call it Zudoin Shabbos? You don't know. If you don't know any of Hilchah Shabbos, that means you don't know Shabbos. The Yada Leila Shabbos b'mai. What do you mean you know that it's Shabbos? Just the name Shabbos is not enough. So the Gemara gives a Gavaldik answer. No, this does not refute Reish Lakish. The Yada b'tchumen. Aha. So tchumen is the limitation of how much may a person walk outside the location in which they were when Shabbos came in. With many pratim that we'll learn be'iked a lot more in Masechtas Eruvin. Now, there's a machlokes between Rabbi Akiva and everyone else whether tchumen is midaraisa or midarabanan. So if tchumen is only midarabanan, then just because this yid knows that you're limited, not walking beyond the tchum Shabbos, if it's only midarabanan, you can't call that zudoin Shabbos. He doesn't know a single Torah consequence of Shabbos. But according to Rabbi Akiva, that holds tchumen is doiraisa. Tchumen is not any of the 39. So that's shot. He knew the one din of tchumen. By the way, when it comes to this question of whether tchumen is doiraisa or derabanan, machlokes Rabbi Akiva v'chaveirav, there's details to that. No, there's a whole question. There's two tchumen. There's a tchum of 12,000 mil, and then there's the much more limited tchum of 2,000 mil. Is it pshat that that tchumen that Rabbi Akiva holds that the 2,000 mil is midoiraisa, or is pshat that Rabbi Akiva taka holds that the limited tchum is midrabanan, but at least the ikid dinei tchumen is midoiraisa? We'll clarify that machlokes when we learn about it. But this will be the word. According to Rabbi Akiva, that there's certainly a doiraisa dika aspect in Shabbos. That's pshat. You know what Shabbos? What's pshat? I know Shabbos. I can't go beyond the tchum. Okay, right. Says the Gemara, now we're going back to Mundas. Man, Tana Lohadu, Tana Rabbanan. Who's the author of the following Braisa? Shagag Bozeh Bozeh. Bozeh Bozeh is going back to this concept of Shigigas Shabbos and Shigigas Malachas. If a person, both did not know that it's Shabbos, he didn't know that today is Shabbos, and he didn't know about that on Shabbos you can't do Malachas, that's the Shogig that's spoken about in the Torah that you chai v'chatos. He's it Bozeh Bozeh. If you knew both, you knew it's Shabbos and you know you can't do the Malachas, well, that's the Mezid that's spoken about in the Torah. But even if you didn't have Asra and Eidim, you're going to be chai of Kodesh. Shagag b'Shabbos, b'Hizid b'Malachas. You knew that X, Y, and Z may not be done on Shabbos. You only didn't know today is Shabbos. Or sheshagag b'Malachas, but you knew it's Shabbos. Oisha amar yodea anisha malachas u asura avol eini yodea shechayaven oleh korban. He knows he can't do it. He knows that there's a kares. He doesn't know that if one does it, the shoygeg is chayiv a korban chatos oiloi. Here is also chayiv a korban. This last statement only goes, says the Gemara, like Mumbaz. More than Rabbi Yochanan and the Chachamim. If you don't know about the korban aspect, that's also called lemunbaz a shoygig. Amar Abaye. Now let's apply the same concept that we're learning now, lachachamim, like Rabbi Yochanan, to other areas in the Torah. And now we're moving on to the dinim of shvuas bitui. Shvuas bitui, the taichus bitui means a utterance. That if I make an oath of an utterance, right? I'm not speaking about I swear that now is night. We're not speaking about shvuas sheker. We're not speaking about shvuas shav. An utterance is simply, I am obligating myself either in the future to do or not to do a mundane act. I swear that I will eat today. I swear that I will not eat today. That's a shvuas bitui. I'm making an oath and my words are binding me in the future to do or not to do. And also shvuas bitui is too on the past. I swear that I did eat yesterday. I swear that I didn't eat yesterday. That's the four Shtayim Shein Arba Shvuas Bitui. Says Abaya, everyone is Moide. We'll see who the everyone is. The Shvuas Bitui, by an oath of an utterance, She'ein Chayv Aliyah Karben, that's the Chiddush of a Shvuas Bitui, that even though if a person makes such an oath and it's false, he goes against his utterance, there's no Chiyuv Kares, this is one of the exceptions, you're Chayv Achatos. If there's a shoygig, if there was a certain lack of knowledge. That she'ein chayavin aleh karben at sheyishgoig belav sheba. Here, shoygig l'kula alma, which must mean, even according to Rabbi Yochanan, must mean that you didn't even know that you're doing something wrong. If you had knowledge that you're doing something wrong, even if you're lacking any other knowledge, it's never going to be called a shoygig, and l'divrei hakol, you won't have to bring a karban chatas. So hakoil moedim man, who was Abaye including in the hakoil? It must be Rabbi Yochanan. Oh, it must be Rabbi Yochanan. So let's learn Rashi. You have time, it's a small daf. Shvuas bitui was starting at the end of the first line under the Gemara. Zot Rashi. Shvuas bitui she'oichel v'lo yoichel, or she'achalti v'shelo yachalti. Future two, past two, positive and negative. The din is chayiv aleh karban. And Rashi writes, v'ksiv bei v'nelam, in that parsha, which is also at the end of Vayikra. The Torah uses the words v'nelam. In other words, when you chayiv a karban chatas, when there was a halama, it was a lapse of awareness, which is a shoygig. So Zot Rashi, hakol moedim b'shoygig shalad. The way you define shoygig. Well, let's begin, Chavra. In the future, in the past, it's much harder. In the future, it's easy. I swore that I will not eat. When I took the oath, I knew what I'm saying. But then later, that I made that oath. V'achal. And I ate. So the din is Ein Chayiv Elam Kain Shachach Shvuas Keshachal. Shogig means that I forgot that I took the oath. The hash the shogag belaf. You know, you don't know b'chlal you're doing something wrong. So it must be. Let's continue in Rashi. The Gemara says that Abaye's hakoil moedim means Rabbi Yochanan. Koloima says Rashi al karchan Abaye is not referring to the argument of Mumbas and the Rabbanan. Must be that way. You know why? Because the Lashmeinan. He's not letting us know. Rabbi Yochanan Abaye is not telling us that according to Munbas, who says on Shabbos, if I knew that what I'm doing is aser, imagine, I just didn't know that there's a chiyuv karban. Munbas says, ooh, that's a shoygig. that it's not that Abaye is saying that Munbaz will say otherwise over here. Munbaz will say the same thing over here. The Munbaz Baha. Right, they're going with the emendation of the Messiah Sashas. He takes out the words Daha and he takes the Dalad in front of Shigas. This Shigas carbon, loy havish gaga. No, Abaye cannot be saying that because it doesn't make sense. The Mehechatesa, why would Abaye say that? Why would we say that? We don't say that. Fakert kal v'choymet. Hash the b'chalatayda kula. The leket chiddush b'karban they do. By all other dinim of chatas, and the rule is chatas is only brought if b'mezid there's a kares. The normal case where there's no chiddush. Still, Munba says that the mechayev b'shigigas karban, that if a person knew what you're doing is asr, and he knew that there's a kares, and there is this klal gadol, whenever there's a kares b'mezid, there's a chatas b'shogeg. This person doesn't know of the karban chatas b'shogeg. That in itself renders it into a shogeg. Hach over here, the chiddush. Here by Shvus Bitur, there is a chiddush that even though there's no kares, you bring a karban if you did it b'shogeg. Kol shchein, here we don't even expect a person to know that if he doesn't know that this is a sin for which you bring a karban chatas, Munbaz will hold you bring a karban chatas. Even though you knew you're violating your oath, you are lacking the knowledge that doing it b'shoigig brings about a karban. That in itself makes this whole act for you as a shoigig act, and you chayv like a karban. It must be that Abaye's statement is going according to the Rabbanan. Again, the rest we figured out. No, now that's taka before we had a machlekes Rishlemin, Reish Lakish, and Rabbi Yechanan. Here he's moedem. Now, as the Gemara, of course he's moedem. He must be moedem, because what did Rabbi Yechanan say? Rabbi Yechanan says that what is a shoigeg? You knew that it's aser. You didn't know that there's kares. There has to be some not knowing aspect. Here by Shvus Bitur, there is no kares. There is no kares. So you don't know that there's taka no kares. So what is the not knowing? There's no other option. The not knowledge must go on the lav. So that's why taka Rabbi Yechanan is maida. That shogeg must mean you don't know it. The moment you know it's a lav, boom, it's amazing. Because there was no kares for you to know or not to know. So the Gemara says, well, if that's the case, pshita. And who even needed Abaye? So the Gemara says, because Kika Amar and Rabbi Yechanan only the Ika Kadas. In other words, there has to be, according to Rabbi Yechanan, Lechachamim, something in which this person is in the dark for. If he's not in the dark for anything, how can you call him a shogeg? Over here, the Leka Kadas, Avada Loi. There is what he doesn't know that there's Kadas. No, the Gemara says, no, Abaye is telling us a Chiddush. Salkadaita Chamino, we might have thought, Hoyel V'chayev Karban Chidushu. Again, just like we spoke out in Munbaz, that it's a kolshchein, that Munbaz will continue with the Shita. Don't forget that the fact that for violating a Shvus Bitur, your chayiv a karban is a chiddush because there is no chiyuv kares. The b'chol ha'torah kulo lo yashkechan, by a lav in which there is no kares, the ma'aseh karban. So hacha you would think, and here you bring a karban. So kishagag bekarban nama l'chayiv. You might have thought that according to Rabbi Yechanan, if a person made an oath, I swear that I will not eat. And then, God forbid, I'm eating. And I know that there is a lav. I know I'm violating. I don't know that if I would have done it b'shoigeg, I would b'chayev a karban. I don't know that part. That's Munbaz's part. One might have thought that here will be moided to Munbaz. And we'll also call him a shoigeg. That's the Komash Volon of Samach Tesamid Beis, that we don't say so. Look inside the top Rashi. Komash Volon Abaye know that the moide Rabbi Yechanan ba, according to the Chachamim, the be'inyan shigagas lav. Shogeg only means you don't know b'chal that you're violating. The he's it belav. The moment you know that you're violating a lav, sulekish gaga. The bahanami pliget abanan amumbas, just like they argue wherever there's a chi of kares. And va'amrin the chachamim hold the ein shigagas karben shgaga. We never call shigagas karben shgaga, even though when Rabbi Yechanan lachachamim shigagas kares is called ashgaga, but here there's no kares. Okay. Meisvei asks the Gemara, Kasha Anabaya, Ezehu Shigigas Shvuas Bitul Sha'avar. We gave a simple case. If I'm making an oath for the future, I get mezid, I get shogeg. I swear that I won't eat today bread, lamashal. And then I go and I eat bread. So when I took an oath, I knew what I was saying. When I ate the bread, simple, if I forgot that I made the oath, has to shogeg. If I remembered that I took the oath, that's called a mezid. But think about what's a shogeg for the past. I swore that I didn't eat. Okay, what would be amazing? That when I took the oath, I knew that I did. What would be a shoygig? What would be a shoygig? That when I took the oath, at the moment of my oath, I forgot, I lost what happened, I lost my memory at that moment. That is not a shoygig. Lukula alma, that's less than a shoygig. We learned a lot about that in Shavuos. In other words, during the oath, the person has to have all of their faculties with them. Ha'adam b'shvuah. Ha'adam means all of you has to be here swearing. See, what again, in the future, it's simple. I swear not to eat. When I swore, I knew I'm swearing not to eat, or not to eat today. But then later, when I violated, there was a shoygig, there was a shikha. I forgot, there was a helen. But how is it shayach again? It can be that I swear that I didn't eat yesterday, and I really did. Elama, I forgot. That would not be a shoygig. That's already cut of lo'inus. So the Brisa says, "She'im Amar yodeya ani sheshvu azu asura." I know that I'm lying. I know that I'm lying. I'm swearing that I didn't eat, and I remember that I ate. Aloma avol eni yodeya im chayav and oleh korban oloi. I just don't know whether there's a korban consequences for a shoygig in shvuas bitui. The shgaga b'korban renders me into a shoygig, and I'm chayiv. So clearly you see, now the Havamina is that Stama Braisa will also be like the Chachamim, that Shigegas Karban is enough to render it into a Shoygig. Now that would work if Rabbi Yochanan's Shita, Lechachamim, will be applied to Shuas Bitoy. That he knows it's a lav, but he's lacking knowledge in something else. Now here there's no Kaddis. So there's something else must be a carbon. But now that you are saying that even Rabbi Yochanan is mighty that by Shuas Bitoy, Shoygig means you don't even know it's Asur, so this doesn't fit with the Braisa. The Braisa is saying that Shoygig is even when you know that it's a lav. You just don't know, you have to bring a carbon. So the Gemara says, Anachanami, this Braisa doesn't fit L'Chachanim. So what? It doesn't refute Abaya. Abaya is correct in applying Shitas Rabbi Yochanan, but mani mumbasi. This Braisa is mumbas. That's one way of learning the sugya in which Abaya is not refuted. Now in the parentheses, let's learn the parentheses. Lishnachrina, Mani, who is this Braisa? Don't tell me it's Mundas, because I will counter argue. We didn't need a Braisa for that pshita, like we already learned Tadashi inside of Namanalas. Hashta b'chalatei kula. The lav chidushu, right? That there is a punishment of a chatas is not a chidush because there's a rule. Whenever b'mezid Kaddis, the shoygig chatas. Nevertheless, Omar halt mumbas, right? Omar mumbas the bachatz. The words that shigigas carbon shmashigaga over here. That the fact that if you do it the nela mimenu, there's a carbon chatas. That's a chidush. We expect less of you to know this. So therefore, you're considered more innocent. Of course, it's going to be called a shoygig and not a mezid. And we don't need a Braisa. It must be that it's the Chachamim. And indeed, if this Braisa is the Chachamim, then we refute Abaya. And indeed, according to this approach, Abaya is refuted. Rabbi Yochanan will also hold his opinion, Rabbi Yochanan, lechachamim, that even knowing that there's a lav, just not knowing some of the consequences, here the only consequence is b'shoygeg achatas, renders you into a shoygeg. And now let's apply this logic to other din, and we're expanding the sugya. Okay, Chabra Truma. This is so good. Truma is a din that a non-kohen, my friends who eats truma, here's the rule. If a non-kohen eats truma b'mezid, the chayiv misa b'dei shamayim. Misa b'dei shamayim, we don't fully understand what kadas is. We don't fully understand what misa b'dei shamayim is. One of the outcomes of misa b'dei shamayim, in contrast with kadas, is that a person in the times up until the end of Bayis Rishon would not live beyond 60. Now, obviously, if a person violated, they can do tshuva. But if there would not be tshuva, so Kaddis had the person pass away by 50, Misa b'dei shamayim by 60. That's why we learn in the Gemara that they used to make a big festive meal if they hit 50, and then when they hit 60, when they lived there, because it means that either they never sinned or they were forgiven by God. It's a lesser spiritual punishment. Right? The Gemara says in other places by Kaddis, Hariri, it affects the life of the children, God forbid. Not so by Misa b'dei shamayim. In any event, a non-kohen who eats truma b'mezid, Misa b'dei shamayim. A non-kohen who eats truma b'shreigeg, chazer. Not only does he have to give back the monetary value to the kohen from whom he took it, there has to be toivim. He didn't take it from me, the Yisrael, but once the truma was given to a kohen, it belongs to that kohen. But here, there's a penalty, and this is similar to the korban. It's in addition to the keren, he has to bring something else to get atonement, and that is adding a halachic fifth. A halachic fifth is really what we would call 20%, right? I'm sorry, what we would call 25%. So let's say he ate up the value of $100 of truma, he has to give back to the kohen $125. How is adding 25 a fifth? You can say a fifth from 100 is 20. The part is that now that you added the $25, how much is 25, the addition from the 125? It's called milabar. That's a fifth. Anyways, you have to give back a keren v'chaimish. Okay, so now let's analyze what's the definition again of a shogeg, for which you'll be chayv v'chaimish. Says Abai hakol moedim. Everyone is moeded that when it comes to a non-kohen eating truma, that you're only chayv v'chaimish. Chaimish means that you did a b'shogeg. How do you define shogeg? That you didn't know you can't do it. Like even here, Rabbi Yochanan will hold like Resh Lakish. You had no idea that this is prohibited. If you knew that this is usher because you're Ari Yisrael and that food is truma, you were lacking knowledge in a consequence. Here, everyone is moida. That's not called a shogeg. You chayv misa b'dei shamayim. You got to pay back the keren, but there's no penalty of a chayv. So again, hakol moedim. Who are we referring to? Rabbi Yochanan. So Gemara and Pshita. Of course, ki kamen Rabbi Yochanan in our sugya whenever there's kadis. So there we say heichad the lack of kadis. So the person Rabbi Yochanan holds that the chachamim hold you didn't know that there's kadis. So therefore, even though you know it's allowed, it's still called a shogeg. But here b'chlal there's no kadis. So the shogeg must mean that you don't know that it's allowed. Hey, but here the leisa kadis loy answers the Gemara. No, there is a chiddush here. One would have thought taka misa b'dei shamayim is not as chamor as, but still, maybe Rabbi Yochanan will hold that if a non-kohen ate truma, they knew it's truma, they didn't know yechayv misa b'dei shamayim. That should be similar to not knowing that there's a chi of kares. And therefore, v'chishagag b'misa nami lechayev. That's a baya. No, that if it's not a sin for which there is kares, even though there's misa b'dei shamayim, not knowing that detail is not taken into account. You know that you're not allowed to do it. You are amazing. Shogeg must mean you don't know when you're eating it that you're doing something prohibited. However, Rava disagrees. Rava holds that in Rabbi Yochanan, l'shitas chachamim, misa b'makim kares imedes, and the chaimish b'makim korban koi, and the chachamim will hold Rabbi Yochanan that if a person, a non-kohen, eats truma, he knows he can't do it, but he doesn't know that there's misa b'dei shamayim, he is still considered a shogeg. On the one hand, he's takanat chayv misa b'dei shamayim. On the other hand, he's obligated, and that's an opportunity for him to find his kapara through adding a chaimish. And now that we're speaking about shigigas, Shabbos, not shigigas malachis, which is normally how we learn, shogeg. I forgot that I can't do that on Shabbos. No. I know all of Shabbos, halavai yamin. I don't know today is Shabbos. So let's learn about this is the case. Amar Afuna. Hoya mahalach, let's learn what we have in the parentheses. Baderech, you're going on a road trip, or bamidbar, you have no communication with the world, and it's shayach, theoretically, or maybe then takashayach ve'eini yoideya emasei Shabbos. You become aware today that I have no idea what day of the week it is. It's very not I don't know whether it's Monday or Tuesday. No, you have no idea. So here's a go. Rav Huna, this is a machlokes amayroim. Rav Huna holds minus shisha yamim mishamer yemechad. You count 6 days, and then the 7th day is Shabbos. And there's nuances here. One nuance is when you count 6 days, you don't begin. Like right now, we're learning daytime. You don't begin day 1 of 6 tonight. You begin day 1 today, even though it's already not a full day. Doesn't matter. In this case, these are the details. Today is day number 1, and at the end of 6 days, Hasta Shabbos. Chia Barav argues with Rav Huna, the opposite. First the Shabbos. Now, by the way, in Chia Barav, first day of Shabbos cannot mean that if my awareness that I don't know what day of the week is during the daytime, like right now it's Sunday morning. Even according to Chia Barav, that you right away keep Shabbos, you cannot begin Shabbos in the middle of the day. Yom Echad would mean that tonight, by Lichbenchen, tonight, already 80 minutes before Shkia, or really more than that, because it's Tois for Shabbos, I take in Shabbos. You begin the first whole day with Shabbos, and then Shisha Yom. What's underlying their machlokes? Mar Savar, that's Rafuna, Kibri Yosei Shel Oilam. When Hashem created the world, the first day, Yom Echad, was Sunday. Shabbos was the end of the week. Omar Savar, we don't look at God's perspective, we look at mankind's perspective. When Adam HaRishon was created, he was created on Friday. Again, it wasn't Shabbos that moment, but the first time he had Shkia, it was Shabbos. For Adam HaRishon, the first full day was Shabbos Kodesh. And this now explains a Zohar. And this is a Zohar that the Rebbe lived with. The Rebbe always referred to Shabbos. This is a quote of the Zohar HaKodesh. The Shabbos, the name is Barchan Kol Yomin. Shabbos is a day that from it, the next week is blessed. Just like we find by Rosh Hashanah, that the Rosh Hashanah affects the year to come. It's not only affects, everything that is going to happen is already included in the head in Rosh Hashanah. Likewise in Rosh Chodesh, Al Pi Kabbalah, this is the way we view Shabbos. Shabbos is not the end of the week. Shabbos is the beginning of the week. And Al Pi Nigla, that's the source. Ka'adam HaRishon, that for him, the beginning was Shabbos. Now, that's a machlokes, and we'll see that Chiyah Barav will be refuted. Okay, this is a machlokes, Amoraim. Okay, let's go back to the era of the Tanoim, Meisvei. It says in a Braisa, clear this case, any day must say Shabbos. Look at the words, Mishamer Yom Echad Lishisha. He observes one day as Shabbos for every 6 days. Now, be medayik in these words. And the diuk is correct. It's not explicit, but it's implied. You keep one day for 6. Does that not mean, my love, you count 6? You count one day for 6, which means first you count 6 and then you count one day. So says Chiyah Barav, why? Maybe it means the opposite. You count one day and then you count 6. Listen, it's 6-1 and 1-6. So the Gemara says no. If that would have been the meaning of the Tana in the Braisa, then the Tana would have said, Iachi mishamer yom echad lishisha. Lishisha. Well, why does he say what he says? It should have says mishamer yom echad umay neshisha. Count one day, which you keep, not count, keep one day, Shmira Shabbos, and then count 6. The fact that the Tana Smiboyle, the fact that it says that the Mishamer Yom Echad Lishisha, think about these, Mishamer Yom Echad Lishisha implies you count one day for 6 days, which means first there's 6 and then there's 1. Now this is not explicit, so the Gemara goes further. Okay, I'll find you another Braisa. It's even more explicit. Why Tanya? Why Malach Baderech? Why Bamidbar? The any day I say Shabbos. Moine Shisha u'Mishamer Yom Echad. That's it. Clear. And indeed, Tiyufta, the Chiyah Barav Tiyufta. And now, okay, this is a beautiful sugya, but now we're going to learn nuance, a nuance which is good to and part of Torah. I remember last time, or the first time that I remember learning this, it surprised me because this is a machlokes that's quoted at least a lot in Hasidus. Many people are familiar with this machlokes, but now we're going to see that actually the 6 and 1 and 1 and 6 is not the way it sounds. It's the same neshama, but it's not the way you think that you have 6 work days and then one day Shabbos Chodesh, or one day Shabbos and 6, Bechlal, not at all. Because at the end of the day, you have a doubt. And when it comes to Hilchos Shabbos, we got to be machmer. So listen to this. Amar Rava, that Bechol Yom V'Yom, whichever Shita stands, even before he was refuted, 1 and 6 or 6 and 1, don't think that during the 6, you're good to go. No. Only you can only work exactly enough for you to be able to have food to live. It's almost like pikuach nefesh. You have to live. You're not going to eat. You're going to die. But the moment you worked enough that this work will give you the food you need for today, you can't do any other malachas because maybe it's Shabbos. And what happens on the 1? What's on Shabbos? On that day, you can't do anything. Now that doesn't work, my friends, because if I work every day, only b'diyuk enough for what I need that day, no day is for the next day, and it's pikuach nefesh. Okay, so on my, let's go with we rule it 6 and 1. On my 6, I only worked enough for Friday. So again, Shabbos, I'm going to die. So the answer must be the Avad Nias Moshlei Parnasa is that whichever one you'll consider the probable Friday, there on that Friday you can work for 2 days. Gemara says, why can you do that? Make up. If you're telling me that this machlokes is not definitive, it's not taka 6 and 1, not 1 and 6. No, every day there's a doubt. Why are you allowed to work one day for 2? Well, Dilma, Me'esma, what you consider Friday, maybe that day is Shabbos. Again, you can work for one day. You have to eat. You're going to die. Okay, so for Pikuach Nefesh, you can be Machal Shabbos also. So how is that one different than the 6? So listen to this. Ella, indeed, Kol Yoim V'Yoim, you only are allowed to do Parnasasai. Know that you have to basically keep Shabbos the whole time. You can only do enough work that is needed for you to live that day. And Afilu Ha'u Yoima. And taka, on that, you're going to be working all 7 days of the week. So how am I keeping Shabbos? On that day, let's go, we say it's 6 and 1, you make Kiddush and you make Havdalah. Aside of that, everything else, all the 7 days of the week will look the same. Amazing. Kiddush Havdalah, Zakt Rashi, the first line under the Gemara, Lizikorin Ba'alma, Shehi Olei Shem, Yoim Choluk Mishar Yomim, V'loi Tishtakach, Shabbos Mimenu, Zakt Rashi. And actually, in the Rishonim, there's a whole debate. When you make Kiddush and Havdalah, you mach mit abracha or na bracha. Because again, God's name is God's name in vain. And taka many Rishonim say that even when you make Kiddush and you make Havdalah, you don't say Hashem. Amazing. How great is that? Okay, back in the Gemara. Amarab. Now I got another detail.
Of Safik Brach Lahakil, but then there's
Safik Brachas Lahakil means you don't
rise in the Rabbanan, or
Safik Brachas Lahakil. But Danny is saying something good. That when do we say Safik Brachas Lahakil? Not to make a bracha if the bracha itself is Midrabanan. Very good. If the bracha itself is a doiraisa, that's connected to this machlokes. Okay, some people say that you make it with a bracha. Maybe because of that. Oh, very good. Okay. If you have partial knowledge and you know when you left, what does that mean? I'll give you an example. If a person knows today is the 3rd day from when I began my journey, that you know for sure. I have no idea what day of the week it is, but I know today is my 3rd day. So one thing you know for sure, knows if you know how many days ago you left, whatever name that is, based on the premise that a Yid would never begin to journey on Shabbos. Chumen. So how many days, we know this from a bris, people get confused. The bris is on the 8th day. So if a baby is born on Sunday, when will the bris be? On Sunday. That's the 8th day. If I know that today's the 3rd day from my journey, so let me go back 3 days. Let me then add 8 days. The 8th day is the same day of the week. The 8th day is the same day of the week. Based on the premise that I Zicher did not leave on Shabbos, so every 8th day is for sure not Shabbos. And on that day, I'm not bound to only work enough kadei parnosasoi, b'chdei sheloi lamus. No, then I know that day is for sure a weekday. So you are pshita. Mordechay mekiv the Shabbos le'nafak. No, really, that is pshita. But there is something else that Rava is implying. A Yid for sure doesn't begin a journey on Shabbos. We can presume that a Yid won't begin a journey on Friday. Now, it's not as chamor as not doing it on Shabbos, but maybe we should add to it that if I know today's the 3rd day from the beginning of my journey, it means I can go back 3 days. I traveled 3 days ago. Maybe we should say that the 8th day from 3 days ago and the 9th day, I should be mutter to do malacha because I didn't begin my trip on Friday. Rav is saying that we don't say. We know if you have partial knowledge, if you know which day you left, that day was Shabbos, 8 days, that day was not Shabbos. 8 days from then, for sure, is not Shabbos. That we do say. We don't add anything to that. Let's read it inside. The last narrow line. Even the Shabbos le'nafak, since a Yid for sure doesn't leave on Shabbos, so let us presume that even the Mali Shabbat, the day before that, also nami le'nafik. And therefore, Bahai inami b'chamsha b'shabbat nafik. Maybe he began his journey on Thursday, but not on Friday. So then, Lishtrei Lei, Lavid Melacha Trei Yoima, we shouldn't just say Cheshbon on the 8th day you can work. Maybe let's say on the 8th day and the 9th day. Kamash Malon, that we don't do. Because Zilin, the Mashkach Shayarto, Shabbos no one leaves. But sometimes you're going to a place where there's a dangerous to travel. And punkt on Friday, a caravan is leaving. And it's an opportunity for you to go with the caravan. And it's caravan of Shruma Yidden. They're not going to travel on Shabbos. In such a case, and you will go out on Friday. You don't know that for sure. So Rav is saying you only can know for sure on the 8th day, and every 8th day is Vadai, not Shabbos. Let's go right. And I will conclude the today's share with this, but this is Gavaldik. So the first and the second case in the Mishnah from the Klal Gadol. First case is Hashechech Iker Shabbos. And you violated many Shabbos, many Malachas. Then when you become aware, one Chatos for everything. But if a person knows Iker Shabbos, but they forgot what day of the week it is, and for many Shabbos in a row, not knowing that it's Shabbos, Shigega Shabbos, they made one mistake. Taka, for every Shabbos, only one Chatos, but for every Shabbos, a separate Chatos. Where do you get that from? Why are we differentiating between the first case and the second case in the Mishnah? So Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Abba Barabua, because today Kroik Sivi, and this is beautiful, in Pashas Kisisa, right? We are familiar with this pasuk. We say it, many people say this in davening. Is also Shabbos. So what do we have? We have Shabbos in the singular, Lashon Yachid. In the beginning of Kedoshim, right? Ish, Imoy, V'aviv Tiro, V'es, Shab, Soisai, Ha. In the plural, Tishmoiru, singular plural. There's a case that one Shemitah is for many Shabbos. There's a case that for every Shabbos you need to own Shemitah. HaKetzad, the Shomer is also Shabbos, meaning Shemitah Achas l'Shabbos is Harbe. Which would mean, the way we are applying it, that if this Hashechech Iker Shabbos, then he becomes aware one Chatos for all the Shabbos. There's another case, you know Iker Shabbos, you forgot that it's Shabbos, you forgot what day of the week it is for many weeks in a row. Here we say Shmira Achas l'chol Shabbos v'Shabbos. Ki'ilu, it's a Gzeiras HaKosov that the week in between creates a halachic yediyah. Helem to korbanos. Well, I agree with the source of the psukim, but I apply it the opposite way. No one is debating the conclusion. No one is even debating the source. The only question here will be, which pasuk is referring to what case? Shabbos, speaking about one Shemitah, it means one Shemitah for every Shabbos. That goes to the case when you're Deya Iker Shabbos, you forgot Shigega Shabbos. The last line in Talmud, the Eshab says Tishmoiru, plural, fakir, that's one Shemitah, the Shabbos is Harbe, when the person didn't even know Hashechech Iker Shabbos. Again, like Rashi points out here, they're not arguing in the din, they're not even arguing with the sources. The only question is what pasuk is referring to what. God willing, to be continued. Gavaldik.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, this is a big difference than all of the medicines, guys. There's no more fox teeth here.
That's for sure. No more Rabbi.
Yes.
Is there a question? Where did this whole this din of Rav Huna about forgetting when Shabbos is? How did this suddenly pop up in our sugya?
Because what does Shigega Shabbos mean? To think about it, when you tell a Yid Shoigig, you think about Shoigig Malach. I didn't know, I can't do it. Today in our world, no one, who do we know that ever forgot today is Shabbos? It's almost impossible.
Right.
The Klal Gadol, the first Klal Gadol also it happens today. A Yid dies, Tinech Shenishba. He knows nothing. Even though he knows the name, he doesn't know anything is Aser. Doesn't know. Right. But the second case, he knows Malachis. So what was the Shoigig? He forgot at Shabbat. He forgot. It means he doesn't know what day of the week it is. That's
well, today everybody forgets the day of the week. The only way I know it's Shabbos is the time of our shiur.
No. You don't look at social media. No one is zooming. Yeah,
all right.
That's the world. The world today is Shabbos or not Shabbos? That's the world today. All right, Chavre.
Have a good day.
Good, everybody. Guys, when I ask about the Levi of Dan, I'll let everyone know. They don't know whether the Levi is going to be today or not. Because the Chavre Kaddish are doing what they could, but when someone passes away from COVID, they have to do legally more hachanas. So it might be today, it might be tomorrow. In any event, they only allow 10 people to go there. I don't think anyone will even once, so I'll find out. Okay, I'll be in touch with details of that.
All right.